Hey everybody. This last week was kind of a tough week for me, and I thought it might be good to talk about it. Good to talk about why it was a tough week, and then also to talk about some of the ways that I've been trying to go about addressing it and trying to do better in the future. There's been a lot of just crazy news for one, and it's been hard to listen to people talking about it. It feels really contentious, and there's a lot of just stuff that I find to be kind of gross that I'm seeing a lot of, and it's hard. It's been pretty disheartening. I I think I finally have accepted that the title of recovering nihilist, because I think I hit that stride again of getting into a place of like, what is the point of all this? Like, why does this even matter? Um, if if anything matters, it can't be this, right? And so, and that has been a thing that I've been encountering. And then to kind of counteract that, I did something worse, and I just filled in all the silence with whatever I could. And so I'm just watching YouTube shorts and, you know, uh, just things I'm not even interested in. I'm just going through, and it's just not fun. It makes me depressed more. And so I'm kind of going through both of those things, and there's sound all the time, and I never took a moment to even think or feel anything. And that has gotten in the way of me wanting to make anything too, because it's easier just to be distracted and not have to feel feelings or think about anything. And so some of the things that I recognize that I could do better in the future, and partially this is a message to my future self, but if anybody else gets anything good out of this, good on you. Noah, in the future, find something good to fill your time with. If you're going to fill it with something, right? If you're going to be watching a movie or a TV show, fill it with something inspiring. Fill it with like real good art that you know is good. Um, Watch a movie that you're impressed by. I really like Studio Ghibli movies, and I feel inspired after I watch one. I think they always put me into actually a good mental state. So do that, first of all. Second of all, turn off your phone. There's nothing good that has come from my phone in the last few days other than being able to be in contact with some people that I could do other ways too. And it doesn't have to be 24/7. So honestly, turning off my phone would have been a better choice than all this path. And then I honestly think making things would have been helpful, but it wouldn't have been able to happen before those two other things happened. I needed to both be silent, to pay attention, and to listen, to be honest about how I'm feeling and how, frustrated I am. And then I needed to fill in the silence with something that would actually address what I'm going through and not make it worse. Because I think that's been a lot of it, is that I see all this pointless stuff, and then I fill it with more pointless stuff, and then it feels like everything is pointless. Like it's all just this nihilist spiral downward into hell. And honestly, like I I reflect on like some of the stuff that originally brought me out of this space, because I've been here before and it's not fun, and it really sucks to be back here again. And I'm I'm not completely there anymore, but I felt it. And you know going backwards is the worst feeling. Um, Even if it's pretty insignificant. I'm going to go on a tangent here because I think the story is applicable. When I went to college, I was on my own, and that was a really tough transition. You go from being in your parents' house, and things are done for you. For me, they were done for me in my house. My parents took good care of me. We still did chores and stuff, but my mom cooked dinner sometimes, and we were taken care of pretty well. People told us what to do, and we would do it, right? We would clean our bathroom most of the time. And there's just a certain level of independence that you develop when you go to college and you do that. And then during COVID, coming back home, living under my parents' roof, it was weird. And it was hard. This idea of returning back, like all this progress I had made throughout college of like developing this independence, this ability to take responsibility. And I felt the responsibility slip away. And the responsibility is what was keeping me afloat to a certain extent, right? It was something that I could rely on and say, okay, well, I'm at least contributing. But when you have no responsibility, there's a certain level in which you have no agency. You're left alone, and you're just you can't do anything. And that was a really tough experience. And in a certain way, this is a certain same thing. Like, I don't think I felt this close to feeling like a nihilist since high school. And so one of those things that pulled me out of that has been there's a book of the Bible called Ecclesiastes. And I think a lot of people give it a bad rap. Usually, very people that you would say are very religious, particularly, because they see it as kind of depressing and doesn't really fit in with everything else. It feels like it kind of sticks out. And so I encourage everyone to read it. I think it's worthwhile reading, but I'll give a summary here because I think it's helpful, because it was helpful for me. That the narrator of the book goes about talking about how he was extremely successful in his life, and this is his final reflections on life. And he saw all the things that he'd done, and he had built great buildings and amassed great wealth, and he was wise and he was knowledgeable, and he just chased everything to the end, and he went after whatever was in front of him, and he had hundreds of wives and all these kind of things. And he reaches the end of his life, and he says it's meaningless. Other translations use a metaphor, and I think this is more accurate to the original, that it was empty, that it was vanity. It was like an illusion. And I never before I read that book originally, had I heard anybody represent how I felt in a way that wasn't like a doomer take. That's part of the reason why on this channel I do my best not to provide a fully negative point of view. I've tried a few times, and I've regretted it every time. I want something good to come out of this. I want it to be pointed towards something good. I don't want to say that's wrong without saying what's right. Where was I? And so he reaches this point, and it just felt amazing to see somebody feel the way I felt, especially in this old text, and be able to articulate that, and then also provide insight on how to deal with it. How to say, yes, there's so much that is empty, and it is an illusion, and it's fleeting, and you can never catch it. You never hold on to it. It's like the wind. It just blows away. And he says, well, nonetheless, there are some real things. I think it's worthwhile just reading it to kind of get the full experience. But going back through that has helped. It hasn't gotten me out of it. But I didn't feel alone. And I think that has been more than anything. When you feel alone, there's not much you can do. There's not a lot of hope there. But Now that I don't feel alone, um, I feel like I can ask for help for one, from friends and family to talk about it, and I did last night. It was very helpful, but I I'm so thankful. And again, this is for you, Noah. You're not alone. Even I feel the way that you do, and even though it's really hard right now and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening, don't listen to people. There's something else that's important that's happening, and it's not obvious to everybody, and it's quiet and it's subtle, but it's good, and it just takes time and silence to be able to notice it. And sometimes you fill the silence because you're afraid that there's pain in there, and there is. But as the the great Islamic poet Rumi wrote, the cure for pain is in the pain. And so that's my call for everybody else who's listening. If you feel the way I feel, that's my advice. Thanks everybody for listening. This is a little raw, but I'm really thankful, and I'm really um, I'm happy I did this. So I hope you all have bright days ahead, and stay strong, and don't be afraid to talk, even if it's just in the comments or something. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, it's probably time I get to writing scripts and stuff again, so I will do that. So I'll stop it here. Have a good one.